So I was 11 once, as all people tend to be at a certain point in their lives. And being 11, with internet access, I had the fortune or misfortune to stumble one afternoon upon a website called Quotev, an online publishing thing that exists, and I promptly sunk knee-deep into something called fandom, which is a portmanteau of fan and kingdom, meaning roughly fan community. But the thing with fandom is that it has a very specific sort of fan culture to it. And my favorite part of fan culture, something that has probably made me cry more times than it should have, is fan fiction, which, in my opinion, is quite possibly the best part of fandom. Forget drawings of cute anime girls on DeviantArt. It's time to dive headfirst into Archive of Our Own and read Minecraft YouTuber angst at 3 a.m. Now, before you make any assumptions about fanfiction, whether it be the gross or the weird, I want you to remember that one small section of rabid teenagers does not account for all fandom goers. Many writers are adults, and different fan communities have different rules for what is acceptable in fanfiction and what isn't. And with that out of the way, let me explain why I think fanfiction is pretty neat and why you should totally check it out if you're interested in any fiction. So what makes fanfiction actually a worthwhile investment of your time, as compared to traditional published literature? Well, two things. There's a lot of it, and there's a lot of variety, both in terms of skill level of the writer, themes and messaging, and just the topic itself. The purpose of fanfiction is for a fan writer's imagination to essentially go wild. And for the reader, the sheer quantity of fanfiction out there means that whatever it is that they're looking for, they're bound to find it. Say you finished reading Harry Potter, and you thought the ending fight was just not as cool as it could have been, even though the ending fight was pretty cool. Well, with a fix-it fic, you can read a version of that scene that someone handcrafted that fulfills what you want. Perhaps you think it's heinous that Draco Malfoy, resident bad boy, just isn't cool enough in canon. Well, Fan and Draco has you covered. It's more satisfying to read a story with elements that you want, that a singular author might not be able to or willing to deliver. There's only one canon version of Harry Potter, but if you love the characters but hate how the story came out, you can always turn to fanfiction to give you that satisfying other option. Whether it be exploring a relationship between two characters, Draco and Hermione, or a what-if scenario where Harry couldn't kill Voldemort, or a slice of life where your favorite characters from all across the multiverse go to high school, you can find it in fanfiction. Instead of having to live tied down to a singular take on a story and characters, the reader gets to explore a near infinite array of depictions and ideas. It's a tangible way to brain rot over your favorite things. Instead of having characters live rent-free in your head, you can read about them doing things that they might not be doing in the original works, or live out a fantasy in a reader insert fic. The point is to have fun, or to suffer, and fanfiction gives the reader themselves agency and freedom over what kind of experience they want to have. But then comes the question of what the humble fanfiction reader should do when their favorite work of fiction doesn't have a fanfic catering to their needs. Well, here comes the fun part of fanfiction. Anyone can write one. People always want to see their own story play out, but if they can't read a story that they want to see, then the next best thing is to roll up one's sleeves and get to writing. If the story you want to read doesn't exist, why not bring it into existence yourself? Now, before you complain and say it's too much work or that you aren't good enough a writer, there are some benefits to writing your own story. For one, it's a great way to stretch your creative muscles. Fanfiction is 2 parts love and 1 large part of writing skill. The medium is relatively freeform without much requirement to entry, and a baby could write fanfiction. In fact, in 1st grade, my teacher told our class to write self-insert fanfiction for a project. I wrote about a PBS Kids show. It was horribly written. I was 5, but I had a lot of fun. And the second part to my argument is that you don't have to finish your fanfic, erasing any bar of entry in terms of work. The point of fanfiction is not to be perfect, it's to have free, unfiltered agency over your own fun, and this extends to writing it as well. Your writing can be terrible, but it's worth it if you enjoyed the process and have a tangible evidence of your creation and your creativity. It's good old, playing in the sandbox, fun. You know, the good stuff, dig your own hole and sit in it. And moreover, with fanfiction comes great writing practice. You've gobbled up your fair share of a variety of different writing styles and storytelling tropes and narrative tools. Now you can put it to good use, and combined with love, because fanfiction is a labor of love, you'll have the motivation to actually make something with your time. Better than video games, in my opinion. The more you write, the better you'll get at writing. You'll grow your storytelling techniques and your understanding of pacing just over the course of writing, which leads me to my next point. Since writing fanfiction is such a tremendously tasking hobby involving a lot of skill and grit, it's no surprise that plenty of fanfiction writers interested in moving into the writing industry have been able to make it big as published authors. For example, the famous, or infamous, book 50 Shades of Grey actually originated as a Twilight fanfiction, and the author, Rainbow Rowell, with works such as Eleanor and Park, and fittingly, Fangirl, used to be a fanfiction writer herself. In other news, the best-selling author of the Lunar Chronicles, Melissa Meyer, wrote 39 Sailor Moon fanfics on Fanfiction.net before publishing her best-selling series. The thing is, fanfiction is a good place for no-judgment fun and experimentation. An aspiring author can get into writing fanfiction with all of the set pieces already made and minted for them to play and shape into whatever story they wish to tell. And the writing process, with fanfiction authors regularly employing the use of a beta reader, or basically an editor that you don't have to pay, is not much different from writing a genuine original book. So once a previous fanfiction writer steps into the big wide world, they'll have all the tools equipped from their fanfiction days to write an original work with likable characters, engaging storylines, and their own writing style to boot. Of course, the goal of fanfiction is not to become an amazing artist or a best-selling author. Of course not. As with any fan content, the purpose is to have fun. And fanfiction offers the best type of fun. A freedom to read and write basically anything you want without having to live by the constraints of your own reality and the reality created by the original authors of your favorite series. Just like any hobby, the most rewarding part about it is simply the fun you take out of doing it. So whether it be reading fanfiction, writing fanfiction, or engaging with other fans about fanfiction, as long as you're having fun, your time isn't wasted. I personally enjoy fanfiction just for the pure stupid fun. I don't have to work hard to like the characters. I'm already completely obsessed, so that's nice, and I get to consume content while I'm eating a meal. There's just something fun about tuning in to weekly updates of your favorite fanfic and getting to go on that weekly romp through your favorite universe. It's just nice. Yep.